Hello there. Anyone out there? Can you hear me okay? I'll get that up there. So, all right. I'm figuring you can hear me. Let me know. Hey, Keith. Thank you for letting me know you can hear me okay. Yay, I didn't miss it today. Yeah, all right. It's about time. Hello. How's everyone doing? Hope okay. We seem to be doing acceptable. Looking forward to Memorial Day weekend. I got some gunk on my screen right there. Good thing you can't see it. Yeah, so potentially some kids coming up from Vegas. Might get together a little bit during that time. I got like a kink in my neck this morning. I woke up and got out of bed. Everything was great, and then went to put on my shoes or something, and it just turned my neck a certain way, and yowzas right there, just kills. And it hadn't bugged me much for the day, but man, if I do a certain direction, just ooh. Yeah, I feel bad. I haven't been as reliable, so less and less people are coming. So I appreciate the few of you that are sticking around. I'm just trying to help out by answering questions. So drink here, my water. Hey, Alex, how are you? Yes, there's something that popped into my head. I was going to tell y'all some new stuff that we're working on. I can't remember. And all of a sudden it fell out of my face, out of my brain. So it looks like we have some good questions, although I think some of the questions I answered earlier, but I'm going to go back to that time anyway, just to make sure I didn't miss any particular subject. So you might rehear some things. How long do your messages stay on your account when we message someone? That they shouldn't leave unless you delete it. It should be like a running, text kind of thing. And unless you delete it, it should not disappear. Now, the ones for campaigns, or the ones for, and the ones for the temple, they're of less value now, the ones in the temple, because we have the completed list, and all it's telling you is go look on your completed list, because we just added a person there that got recorded. So there's different messages. There's notifications. Notifications is just temporary. Your contact, your information between writing back and forth with another person should not disappear. The campaign stuff will only stick around for like a month, I think. And then the temple ones, I think they're staying right now, but now that we're using a completed list, it probably needs to just be a notification and not really have anything. Yeah, so Diana, you're asking, are they going to make it easier to make someone living again if someone kills off your family that's still alive? Yeah, that's really difficult to do. Just making it easier, because if we make it easier, then people could make a bunch of people alive, and that would make them disappear from the tree. So it's still going to require admin at this point to make a person alive. I think that they're pretty quick on getting that done if somebody reports that. So it shouldn't hang around for too long. It should only be, within the same day or so. Let's see. Alex says, yeah, we're 7:30, so we can get going. Is there a way to see if my tree links with any other members' trees to see if anybody is working on my family lines? The easiest way to know if somebody else is working on your line is, and we don't have a way that just for you to just say, go look at my line, because your line can be a long way. So there could be, I think the largest tree when I looked at it last was over 600 million. And that's a lot to look for to see if there's somebody else. And odds are, with that many people, there's lots of other people working on this on your line. So what I find the best way to do is, as you're looking at your people in your tree, maybe you get a hint, maybe you have a memory that you've gotten, now you want to put it on, and you look at the contributors in the vitals or attaching sources. You can click on their name, that's their contact name. You can click on that, and it'll pop up a box, and you can send them a message, or if you've turned on the ability to show how you're related, then it'll tell you, and they have agreed as well to show how you're related. Then you can actually see your relationship, like first cousin, twice removed, or something like that. Plus, you can click to see actually how you're related, through what line. So you can see the line going up to the common ancestor and down to the other patron. So that's the easiest. Excuse me. At RootsTech, we do a relatives at RootsTech kind of experience where we just calculate automatically everybody that's registered for RootsTech and tell you who you're related to. So if you went to RootsTech virtual, we did a virtual in February, you had that experience, and lots of people found 16 to 20,000 living relatives. Some of them, of course, would be distant. We're looking to see how we can do that on Family Search proper, so that you can see maybe your closest X number of ancestors. But to really know who's working on your line, we haven't actually, we know that information, but we haven't prepared anything special that says these people are working on your line. Usually as you're just going along, you're going to see somebody else contributing something. If you're watching a few of your ancestors, you'll get notified of that as well. So Keith, what does the following message mean? Ordinances that were previously shared with the temple cannot be shared again. So what that is talking about is, let's say that you you have a person in a tree. They have all their ordinances, BCIE and SP, sibling parent. You reserve them all. And then you share, let's say that you like to do initiatories and sealings or something, and you're not interested in doing the baptisms, or you can't do them or whatever. So you share baptism and confirmation to the temple, okay? So now there's a shared pair, baptism and confirmation to the temple. You have the I, maybe you share the E too, or maybe you don't, either way. Let's say you share the E and you kept the I and the SP. So now when somebody else comes along and they go to that person, they can reserve the B and the C, or they can reserve the E, and that will put that BC on their reservation list. And sometimes people who are the secondary person, meaning you reserved it, you shared it, now a different person now took what you shared to the temple, that person can't reshare that BC back to the temple because it's already shared to the temple. So that's what that means. It means that you can't reshare it. You can't share it again once it's already been shared. It stays in the temple until those ordinances are completed. So if the person doesn't want to do it, they just need to remove it from their list. Just click it and remove from their list. And now it's back at the temple, and anybody else can come along and take that B and C and go. So that happens with Ordinances Ready a lot. Somebody clicks Ordinances Ready, the youth for baptism and confirmation. They'll grab it. Usually they'll go do it, but if it's sitting there on their list and they think, well, I'm not going to do it, so I'm going to share it with the temple, it's just going to say, you can't share it with the temple because it's already in the temple list. So that's what that one means. Okay. Toowoomba, Queensland. Well, thank you for joining us. All right, let me look at a couple of questions. Now, these may have already been answered. And this one, it says, in my contributions, private people, I would like to be able to sort by year of birth. That way I can look once in a while and check for death records for the oldest people in there. Can't see that they are sorted or arranged in any particular way. And I've already written that down in my little list of features we need to do for our Facebook. And I think that's not a problem. The next one from Irene says, I know my ancestor migrated because he was born in England and died in New York. When I put immigration into other information to ask for a date, a place, and a description, what is an example of what I would write for a description? Well, you could say that you don't have a date and a place, so you leave that out. And you could say this particular record that's attached to the person. You could put the name of the record or whatever there, and shows, here's these two records, one that shows born in England, and the other record shows that they died in New York. Here's the records, the name of the records, so they can find them in the source list. And from this, I'm determining that that my ancestor immigrated to New York from England. So that's probably a reasonable thing to say about it. All right, Joe Price. Hey, Joe. Really love attaching census records. Would there be a way to filter the tasks on the mobile app or the recommended tasks on the Family Search homepage to focus on census records? Yeah, right now what we're doing is it's just simply records for a certain level, a certain distance in your line. But let me just make a note of that and see. We can see how tough that is. This is on the home page for your tasks, both in web and on mobile. Okay. Yeah, let's see. You said, Tara Lynn, asked, does Family Search have a campaign that makes it easy for someone to see if one of their ancestors served in the military? I think there is a military campaign. It actually occurs on Memorial Day, which is coming up. You can also be able to see that in your messages under, let me see, I didn't have Family Search up and running. Let me go in there, tell you where that would be. If there's a campaign out there, you ought to be able to go into messages, show all messages. Okay, let's see. Changes, obituary, ancestor calendar, homeland delivery. I'm looking in the notifications. Changes to people you follow. Yeah, it doesn't look like at least they haven't done one recently, it looks like, but they do it on Memorial Day. So you should get a notification in Family Search, and it'll say, we found that your Oh, wait, you should be able to go to discoveries. That's another place. Let me go to there. Go to family history activities. And it has, if you go to familysearch.org and then you go and click on activities and you pick all activities, scroll down a little bit and there's an option for World War I service records. So that'll tell you about the military. And we also have another one that's World War II service records. And we have a third one that's World War I draft card. And you should be able to select that. And let's see if it looks at your tree right off. Yeah, it looks at your tree. And then it'll tell you the people and let you see the actual record there. Okay. So that'd be a nice one. You could go do that right now. All right. Let me go back over here and then I'll come back to the next question. So this is Nathan. He's asking about appreciate rolling out. Glad that we have the Ordinance Completed tab. Being able to see a person's identifying data at the time of ordinance is critical for verifying the ordinance shown in the PID's Ordinance tab. This verification is necessary because of what I call ordinance hijacking. And he describes what that means, which just basically means two people are merged together. I guess they're really not the same person. And it'll just show, if two people are merged together, we show the first ordinance. It's called the effective ordinance. So the effective ordinance in Family Search is the first ordinance. Because, you know, you get baptized 2, 3, 4 times. It's the first one that we have been told is the effective one. The rest of them are just duplicates that were done. Says the data in the Ordinance Completed tab can be compared with the data in the PID's Ordinances tab on the Completion tab. Yes. So in the completed list, we show you the name of the person, their PID, and the qualifying data. So the gender of the person, usually the birth date and the place. So you have to have at least a date and a place, and that they're deceased. And then he's saying I can go to the Ordinance Completed tab to look at the PIDs inside of that set of ordinances on the completed list, compare it to what's already there in the system on that person, and know whether or not somebody's done a merge. So he's using the ordinances dates to figure out whether his particular person was merged inappropriately. And he's asking, can we expand the access of this data beyond the immediate user and beyond the 2-year window? And currently, we have no plans to go beyond the 2-year window. Although, Nathan, you are certainly welcome to send me an email explaining how far out you think it should be and why. And we'll always investigate that and reconsider that. So I'll wait for you to send me an email about that particular concern. The real thing is some people have thousands and thousands of ordinances that they've done over the years, and that becomes difficult for the system to show that properly to a person, let alone finding things inside of that huge list. Okay, CL Stan. When a similar record is listed near already attached records and you click on it, the page goes to indexed record. Then to look at the original, the page changes to attach and it changes again. Little confusing there for me. Oh, similar record. Oh, similar record is when you're looking at a record and then down below you see some other records that we believe are about a similar person. Maybe the same person, may not be the same person. And you click on it, I'm assuming to see the similar record. The page goes to indexed record. Then to look at the original page changes. The something to attach, it changes again. So let me see if I can figure out what that means. So if I go to a person, I'm going to try to go to the person in the tree real quick here. and go look at a record or look at a person. Let me go to up my tree a little bit, and I'll just look at a record. And I'll go to the source. Oh, there it is, similar records. Okay, so I'm seeing similar records, and you say, when it's similar record list, you already near already attached records, and you click on it, the page goes to index record. Okay, so if I click this, so I've got I'm looking at a birth certificate, and then I'm going to click a census one. It goes to the census one, shows me who it's attached to, and then I should be able to go back arrow, and it should go back. No, it doesn't go back. It doesn't go back to the same thing. All right, so what I recommend doing is, I'll take that. This might be a little bit hairier to get back to the place you want. So what I recommend is you learn your browser, and the best way to do this in your browser is with the Control or Apple button. You can do either one. And if you want to look at a similar record, what I would do is go down to the person that you're going to, in the list of the similar records, hold down your Control or your Apple button, and then left mouse click. And what that will do is it'll open a new tab in your browser right next to the one you're on. And sometimes I'll go in there and I'll click 4 or 5 of them things at the same time. So boom, 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 boom. 5 more tabs are created alongside of it. And then I go to each of those tabs and look and see whether that record is the same person. And if so, then you can do source linker and things like that to get it together. So that's what I recommend doing, is getting familiar with your Control left mouse button in a browser, or your Apple Apple button, and the left mouse click. Okay. All right, let's see, back over here. Thank you for adding completed ordinances tab. It's been great to see when and where ordinances shared with the temple are completed. Are there other new things coming on the temple tab? Well, as you know, I've been talking about these shared family groups forever, and we are working on some stuff to allow you to share ordinances with your family or with a set of people that you've set up as a group that you want to share ordinances with, and that will affect the temple tab. So I think I talked a little bit about it in this last RootsTech. I showed a little futuristic thing about it. So you might want to go to the RootsTech and take a peek at that to see what it looks like, and you can provide feedback. But it essentially allows you to share ordinances, or you can create a group, and you can invite people to that group if they accept it. And then you'll be able to share ordinances to that group, and that will show up on a separate reservation list that's just for that group. And you can share, and then anybody in the group can share ordinances into that group, or they can take ordinances out of that group. So if I shared something into the group, somebody else in the group could take it and print the card and go to the temple and do that work. Then that person would get notified that the ordinance is done, recorded, and also the person who shared it will get notified that the ordinance was recorded and it's on your temple tab, on your completed list. So that's sort of a thing we're working on. I can't recall the date. It's not too far off that we're going to be able to get that out. Linda, many of Massachusetts birth records are listed as death records. I've seen this also with married records listing as death records. It's been happening for about a year. Glitch? It's really more of when we get data from these record owners, sometimes their metadata, which is it's information about what this record set is about, is not exact enough. So sometimes it has a mixture of birth records, death records, all this kind of stuff. And so sometimes, we look at their metadata and it just says death, and we apply death to all of it. or birth, and we apply birth to all of it, or whatever, married, whatever. And so if you would please, Linda, send me the record collection names so you can go look for the record collection. You certainly are aware of those problems. Send me the name of the record collection in an email, and I will get that over to the folks that take care of that. And then they can make that correction. It's not going to happen super fast, unfortunately. And because we've got a lot of records we're processing. Okay, let me go back to other questions. Oh, great. This is from Dan. He asked, it's been several years since I've heard about plans for sharing of information on family search for living persons among consenting extended members. I hope this is still among family search development priorities. Is that the case, and is there a time frame for that capability? Yeah, we're still looking into that, to have a place where you could share your living into that one place, and all the people that you invited. This is the same group that I was talking about before. That same group can have a reservation list, and we'll eventually be able to have common living people in there. That's a little bit more difficult, so we're still working out some models that will work, that will not make it too complicated for a regular person to be able to come in and do that, share those living together, so they can all see together. Then you just go to that community, sort of your family sort of place, and you'll see all the living there. And if anybody adds memories or does any additional things on the person pages inside that family area, then everybody will see it, and everybody will be able to fix it or correct it or add things. So yeah, that's still on the plans. Don't have a definite date for that particular one, so we're continuing to work on it. Okay, the cat's meow. When the family history report shows ordinances submitted, does that mean the ordinance is done, or that the card is printed, or the name is reserved? Okay, so you're talking about a report that's in the church that you can get as part of a family history consultant person or director or whatever in your ward. Usually elders, quorum president, relief society, something like that. What submitted means in that report, it means that they have either, one, shared it with the temple, or printed the card. The done isn't involved in that computing. So submitted means they either shared it with the temple or they printed a card. And, in that case, we're assuming they're going to get it completed. So that's all that means. It just means they shared it with the temple or printed a card. Okay. All righty. Next one over here, Irene says, I know the surname Emerson, but I don't know the first name. If I just put Emerson, it looks like his first name is Emerson rather than being his surname. Should I put a Mr. so it is clear? And the answer is yes. If you don't have a first name, you should put Mr. in the prefix, and you should put the last name in the last name area. Now, if this person, in this particular case, Mr. Emerson, had a spouse and you didn't know the spouse's name, but you knew he was married. So they had, there was someone involved and there was kids, but you don't have the mother's name, then you can put in Mrs. Emerson in that particular case. But usually you find birth certificates and stuff, you can find some of these names, but it is proper and better to put in Mr. Emerson to be clear. You are welcome, Cat's Meow. Is there a standard format to put dates given by quarters, such as Q2, which is common in the English records? I don't think our system necessarily takes the Q2. Let me go check. Let me see what it does. So if I got a person here. Let me go look for that person. Let me play around with that person just a hair. All right, I'm going to go to this person, and you're saying that I want to put okay, John Smith, male, deceased, and you want me to put in, the question was put in, yeah, that's correct, Linda. You could put a range. A range is always acceptable and right. I don't think it would take Q2, but I just wanted to see Q2. Q2, it comes up, no, that won't work. So Q2 brings up the year 2, the year 1802, 1902, and 2002. So Q2 doesn't do it, so you do have to do the range. I should have thought of that earlier. I just wasn't thinking well. And so Linda gave us the right answer. You could put from January 1888 to March 1888. And that'll mean sometime in that range that person was born or whatever. So thank you, Linda, for that. All right, this is from Warren. Says the Easy Invitations Report and Helper Resources is a great report to help wards, Temple Family History Consultant approach ward members about doing thing in family history. Its sort order, however, is really bad. What will make this report better is to sort it in family order, such as last name, HW, birth order of children. Even just sorting the last name, first name order would be great. Improvement if you can get the order from the church's database. These are, you're talking about people, people in the ward, and you want to, but yeah, okay, I understand. We give it to you, I think, in the same way that you get it on your phone. And isn't that sorted in last name order, right? On the phone for your Tools app. Yeah, it sorts by last name. And you're telling me it doesn't sort by last name. I'll have to go check that out. I'm going to take the time right now to do that. So let's see, helper, sort, by last name. Okay, we get that from the church, and that's how they do it. So I'll have to see if there's a way for them to give it to us in a sorted way. All right, Nancy, I think I responded to that. You sent me that question, and I think I replied to that today. So please go look in your email for that, and then let me know if that doesn't answer your question fully. Jared, when someone adds a source to someone's family search record, the program asks them to state the reason they are attaching the source. How can I see what those reasons the source was attached? I can't seem to find the information when I view the source. I can't see that information when I view the source. Oh, twice. I can see everything else, but not that. I can see the reason someone gave for adding information if I hit edit on that field, but it does not work on a source any more than it does when I hit view. What am I doing wrong? Okay, so when you're looking at the sources tab and you open a source, you see the record and the similar records and stuff. But if you want to see what data they put into the reason, you would need to click the view button. Let me see. No, reason wouldn't go there. The view button will show you the source date, source title, the link, and the citation and where they could describe notes. So let me go back over here. You would have to go to, let me see here. Yeah, you would have to go to edit, or you can go to edit the source and it'll show the reason statement. Or you can do what you did. You have to click the edit on the place where that source is attached. That's a bummer. So that's like you have to go to edit on the name to see all the sources that are attached. And then when you click that, I think it gives you the same exact information. Yeah, and it gives you the reason statement. So I think that's probably a good suggestion. Under searches. So under sources tab on person page, include the reason statement. More like on pop-up. Okay. The thing that makes it different a little bit is that source could be attached to multiple things, like a birth and a name. And so the reason should show up in either way, because you're just looking at the same source. All right. This is Irene, she says, on this England 1770 christening record, what is the difference between event place and original place? She was christened at the event place, original, but they kept the christening record at the event place. Here's an example. Event place, Oldham, Lancaster, England. Event place, original, St. Mary, Oldham, Lancashire, England. I don't know. Can somebody give me an idea why that would necessarily be so? It's a records thing, so I'd have to look at that. So let me take that one to go talk to the records guys. It's not ringing a bell off the top of my head right now. I know that event place. Yeah, the event place. I don't know. Oh, okay. It has to do with standardization, huh? The knowledge document also tells what to do with unnamed spouse. Oh, yeah. Standards also tell you that. Knowledge. There is a knowledge document out there for that. Oh, they standardized the event. The original place was St. Mary, Oldham, Lancashire, England, and they standardized it. And they're showing the standardized place is Oldham, Lancashire, England, because that's what we have in our standards database. So that makes sense. Thank you, Nancy. This next one's from Christy. Is there still no way to add an unconnected person from Family Tree app, or have I just not managed to find it? Yeah, there's a place. It is, let me tell you where that is. I'll try to describe that to you because I can't really show it to you on the screen because it's mobile app, doesn't project well. Let's see, because I talked to my guy because somebody else asked that question. I can't find it now. Oh, wait. I think I remember now. I think I got a faint memory happening. I need to go check real fast. Let's see. Download, charge, delete person, recent changes, download, follow, refresh person, share person. Okay, you go to recents, you push the recents in the bottom bar, and you scroll down as far as you can go. Yeah, Joe just put it up for me. Yeah, you just scroll down as far as you can, and there's a little button that says add unconnected person, which makes sense because that's where it is on the website. I don't know why I wouldn't have got that straight in my head. Thank you, Joe. Okay, this next one is from Dee Dee. What is the correct way to enter someone who with two last names on Family Search? Both names listed in the last name slot or one and the last names listed in the first name box? Is the information like this on Family Search somewhere? I would gladly look it up myself. Yeah, it's out there, but I'll tell you what to do. You just enter both last names in the last name area. So first names, it's title, first names, that's all the first names. So for me, it would be my first name and my middle name. And then last name is all the last names. So if it's somebody has multiple last names as their standard name, you do that. If they have other names, then you need to go down to the other information and add other names they may be known by. That way we'll search records for all of those names. Not only the one that's in the vital, but also the ones in the alternate, the other information as alternate names. Okay, this is also from Dee Dee. It says, I once got a message from a person who was upset that I deleted Ancestry.com sources when the exact duplicate Family Search sources were already attached. This person said that having two sources of the same thing, one from Ancestry.com and one from Family Search, for example, strengthened everything. Is this true? If this is true, can you please explain this to me? I think two copies of the same source doesn't make it any stronger than that one source. So that's my view. I suspect that person put that Ancestry.com source in there. But if it's the exact same source, then it doesn't matter. I don't know if I would spend my energy removing the duplicate source personally, because it doesn't hurt. I mean, I think we allow you 1,000 sources on a person, if I remember right. That number may have changed since our original creation to something less. But I mean, people aren't going to have that many sources on themselves. So I don't think it gives any additional credence if it's the exact same source. Now, if it's two different sources, one on Ancestry.com and one on Family Search, and they're different, but they substantiate the same data, well, then that does make it stronger and better. But two sources of the exact same thing doesn't seem to make any difference to me. It seems like just an extra burden. Okay, this is, and the next one is from Gordon. Gordon says, can you share any information about the future of communities? Right now, it is very confusing and clumsy to use with difficult navigation in so many categories that people seem to have a lot of trouble deciding where to post, and discussions about just about any topic can be found under almost any category. What is being done to improve things? Can you see a lot of concerns under communities, ideas, Family Search community? Let's see. We just barely switched that. That must be people upset right away. I think we just barely switched that to something new. Let me see if I can get in there. So you can, they have featured groups, like you said, and there are a bunch of them. Talk about different things and different featured groups, Family Search products and tools, RootsTech groups, Latter-day Saint groups, research groups, volunteer groups, and general groups, all groups. I think that they're careful when you're doing groups. They're careful to make sure that there's not duplicate groups, so they have to be approved. When it goes to ideas, now you were talking about ideas section. So over in ideas section, Mike M. Well, that is true. Mike, there's two different things. If I agree with you completely, Mike is saying you should attach every source or people end up creating duplicate people based on duplicate sources. Yes, So I agree what you're saying, that you should attach all sources, but I think that is all family search sources, because we're the ones hinting new sources to people inside of familysearch.org. The sources that come from Amazon are traditionally people that have an Amazon, or excuse me, not Amazon, people that have the ancestry.com. They probably have a tree in Ancestry, and they're attaching sources to that person in Ancestry, and then they want to bring that information over to Family Search. And since we're not hinting Ancestry sources, then I don't have a problem with those Ancestry sources staying. But if it's the exact same source, it really doesn't bolster it. So I'm indifferent both directions. I mean, I wouldn't spend the time to remove it. But there you go. Well, I don't know if this is that bad. I'm wondering if you're looking. I wonder if Gordon, you're looking at prior ones, because it seems like reasonable categories: family search community, family tree, family history centers. Let's go on the family tree. RootsTech research tools has that. And okay, you get in, when you go in the family tree, there's just comments in there about family tree, and that seems reasonable. So I'm going to let you, just continue on with what we have, and let me know if that's the new communities that you're talking about as opposed to the older ones. All right, next one is from Sherry. She says, why can't the Ordinances Completed notification page show more information about the completed ordinance besides date? Name, ordinance, temple completed in. I have to click on view list to see details about the ordinance. Well, yeah, and I think Sherry, I think you also sent me an email about this, like today or yesterday or something. And we didn't want to necessarily keep repeating the information multiple places. I know before, when ordinance was completed in the temple and you were the submitter, remember? Submitter either printed the card or shared it to the temple. Then we would send you a notification, and we would tell you the name of the person, the ordinances that were done, the temple they were done in, and a link where you could click it to go to that person. So we wanted to simplify, because we didn't want people to not know where to look to find this information. So when we did the completed list, we said that's the official completed list for your reservations that you've completed. And so we didn't want to potentially have any discrepancies between what we send you in notifications and what you see on the completed list. So because of notifications, what we do is if you do an ordinance, we kind of wait a little bit to see if another one's going to get done. Like think of a baptism and confirmation. You're going to want to wait for some time before you send the message. Otherwise, you just get bombarded with a bunch of messages. So we wanted to kind of try to group them. But so we're doing that same thing, but we didn't want to enter in information there and then potentially have it be different from what's somewhere else. So we just say, click here to view your completed list. And and it's unclear to me whether we can really jump right to the particular ordinance that it's being talked about. So yeah, you would have to, theoretically, if you're looking at your notifications, you should be able to jump pretty closely, because it'd be at the top. Because the last one done in the temple, the one that was most recently done in the temple, is the one at the top of your completed list. So that you could just jump over to your completed list and do it. Now, maybe I don't know if people would. I think people would still want a notification, because they still want to know the comfort to know that it's recorded. So I don't know. I'll take that to the team and see how tough it would be to stick that back in there. But I don't know. Just put a note here. Maybe. And temple notification again. So we'll talk about it, but I don't know. I'm kind of really iffy on that one. All right. The next one, Irene. I clicked on the link. Sorry, Irene. I apologize. I clicked on the link to watch you on May 20th, and it says the video is unavailable. Yeah, that's because I went and didn't have a brain that night and forgot about my presentation, my Facebook Live or YouTube Live. Sorry about that. I apologize again for that mess up. And Irene also asked another question. I don't know if it's the same one, but I just give first names. What is the difference in search historical records and search historical images? Does search historical records eventually bring you to search the same images that you would if you started with search historical images? No, my understanding is search historical records, you are searching the records that have been indexed. They have been fully indexed and put into the system. I actually don't know. I'm going to ask that question. But my understanding, I guess it could do the same thing. Let me go check. Let me just write that in. Does image search, we call it image search, pick up same records that have been indexed? I'll go ask that question. I don't really know that answer for sure. It could be, but the intent is, if you go to the standard search, you're searching records that have been indexed and released. If you're going to search historical images, then those images traditionally have not been indexed. They may be in the process of being indexed, but they're not completed and released with indexes. So in those cases, you're not looking at indexes. You're looking for things that is known as, we call metadata, which is essentially information about that set of collections. Like, it's from New Hampshire. It was a census. It was done in 1930, and it contains these sort of elements. So that's the kind of data about the whole collection that we get from from those who share those records with us, that has information about the collection as a whole. And that's what you're really searching. So when you're going in and saying, I want to search for this person or this surname, we have an index that can tell us, well, that name will be here, or here's all of the images where that states that it's from that county or that town or that city. And then you only have to look at a limited number of images, because then you jump right to the beginning of that set of images, and then you just go through those images. You go through them all and get into a different county, and then it's not in that particular place. Yeah, they're called waypoints. Most people don't understand what waypoints are. And that's just, if the collection has different towns, then we have volunteers that go in and say, and employees too, that go in and say, this is the beginning of that town. This is the beginning of this town. This is the beginning of that town, so that we can jump you to the right place. But it's made for reducing the number of images you have to look at before you find the person you're trying to find. And that's the last question I have. So please ask a few more. We've got about another 10 minutes or so. And so Diane asked, do you know when we might get the 1950 census? The 1950 census, my understanding, is due to be handed out in April next year. I'm not exactly sure what date in April next year. And as you know, when it gets handed out, it's just images. And so then we have to go through a process. And, oftentimes several partners sort of work together to try to help get that done quicker for everybody. So I believe that that's coming out. The images will come to Family Search and others who have access to those images in April next year. And then I don't know all the nitty gritty details there, because that's another team that deals with all the little details on, what are they doing first and what's set and what counties and things like that. So I don't have that information, but as we get closer into April next year, then I'm sure there'll be plenty of notices, advertisements, not really advertisements. We don't advertise. It's more of notifications to let you know that these counties will be opening and you can come help if they need that help. Okay. Any other questions out there that somebody may have? I think I asked and answered them all. What is less than a year away? You mean the 1950 census? Yeah, it's less than a year away, because it's I think the rule is 72 years from when it was taken. So what is that? Yeah, 2022. So that's when it'll go. Yeah, less than a year away. So that's great. Not very far. Of course, we'll all have the same problems, right? Anytime we seem to get a census, people make everybody dead in that census, even though they're still alive. And I'm not looking forward to the one after that census, because somebody be marking me dead in the tree, because how can that person be so old and still be alive, right? I hear that lots from people that are like, man, they were in the 1940 census. There's no way they're alive, kind of thing. And that's just funny. The interesting thing is they'll all have a different perspective when they get up into the 60, range. All of a sudden they'll understand what's really happening, which will be interesting. Okay. Any other questions from anybody? All right. I don't have any left to go. I don't necessarily have anything particular. I already did talk a little bit about, I'll repeat it because more people have joined since we started. I spent a little time talking about some things that are coming down the pipe. And one of the things we're working on is a shared family reservation list. So you'll be able to create a group, invite people to that group, and that group will have a reservation list. And then you'll be able to share your reservations from your reservation list to the family reservation list. And then members of that family can then come to that family list and then take that ordinance onto their list and print the cards and go do the work. And the person who printed, as well as the person who shared it, will get notifications that that ordinance is completed and recorded when that happens. So that's one of the things we're working on that's coming. And I want to thank you all for participating. I apologize for my lack of brains. Things are just really accelerating in Family Search, and we've got 100 billion things we're doing. And when that, when 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock comes, it's like I'm pooped and I, log out. I don't even really log out. I just kind of tell the computer to go to sleep, walk out of the room, and don't think of anything. Can't think of anything. But thank you very much. And I'll schedule some more for next month, and we'll see you then. In the meantime, you could always, if you have something that you're really concerned about, you're certainly welcome to send me an email, ron@familysearch.org. Yeah, and we're going to have some more stuff. Phase 3, you still have to schedule, I understand. And you still have to print your cards. So don't forget, they're not going to print them at the temple in phase 3. So you need to print your cards. And they're not going to print FORs or anything for you there. So come with your cards. And in phase 3, and I think you have to schedule, or you have to get an appointment to come, because they're trying to make sure the amount of people is not too much, I think. So thank you and have a good evening. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.